I'm glad that you guys can see me right now. I'm just waiting for everybody to get on point and we can get this show on the road. Sorry, the camera is going to be a little fuzzy because we're not going to be using sunlight and it's going to be, unfortunately, in the evening time. That's why it's going to be like that. There we go. I hate neutral angles, by the way. It's interesting how this entire process is actually also being simultaneously directed by a whole lot of other people that we can't see on screen right now. So just thought I'd give them a little heads up on that count. Unfortunately, the beginnings have to be with a bang, but here we're going to have to take it a little slowly because we're going to have to wait for everybody to get on point. So hopefully in another 5 to 8 minutes, I'm being told by the peeps that we got to start up. So that's how we're going to do it. Anyhow, I hope everybody can appreciate. I've got my black hat on today, looking more like the photograph that we had used for the poster. So anyhow, the wonders of technology. Getting instant comments and things going on. Okay, I'm being asked to make sure that I brand this live stream and say that I'm live on the Karachi Creatives channel, and we're here to discuss the art of producing good films. And I want everybody to join in, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be more fun than hopefully yesterday was. We're going to be talking more about things that are going to be more production specific today. The weird thing is that I wasn't as lucky at college to have actually been immersed in the production side of things also. But this is something that we're going to be discussing nonetheless. I learned my tricks of the trade on the job, and it was a longer process. And I don't want to get too much into it. I don't want to get too much into it, but we're going to start up in a little bit, so I'm going to give the whole story then. In the meantime, let me quickly forward this wonderful thing on Facebook as well, so that the people know. I'm having ex-students making cracks of the future of me as Whitebeard now. So, hey, God bless COVID. That's all I can say. Anywho, I am going to at some point smoke a cigarette also, ladies and gentlemen. So don't do what I'm doing. Just kind of like do that. And thankfully, this time around, guys, one of the good things that has happened is that we figured out some of our stupidities from last time round, and we will be able to take questions on the live chat as well as WhatsApp. So it's going to be two different social media platforms. I love these social media platforms. I hope you guys can understand the sarcasm that's about right now happening. But at least we're going to be able to get through to people's questions. Please don't think I'm trying to be a dick or anything like that and not trying to answer your questions. That's not at all the impetus behind it. In fact, if anything, we're going to make sure that we're going to try to get through as many of your questions as we can. If we are having some problems or whatever, don't lose heart. Don't suddenly feel bad about me not answering them. We will get through to everybody as we did last time. Now we did manage to answer these questions anyway. So there's going to be 4 more minutes, and then we're going to crack into it as best as we can. Uh, I'm being asked by Sohena. She's going to kill me right now. Uh, what kind of a boss am I? In fact, strangely enough, I don't want to toot my own horn, and just because I'm saying it, I will say this for a fact that uh, it has actually been a very positive thing that I have all my co-workers come back to me many years later and tell me that I was one of the best bosses that they had the privilege of working for. And it has one of two things to go on. One of the things definitely is the fact that I believe in being a team player. Look, you can't be a good boss unless until you're gonna roll up your own sleeves and get down and start getting into the work. There's no way in hell that you can inspire your team to work harder unless and until you're willing to put in the effort. Also, the second most important thing that you need to do is to constantly equip them with the right tools. So whatever new thing you're learning, whatever stuff you found out, make sure you're creating a culture in which there is sharing of information. Unfortunately, too many times what we have is this bad habit that people actually do, that they tend to keep things close to their chest. They don't want to share information. They somehow always will hire people in a department that are not going to uh, complement the department and make the strength of the department grow, but in fact will choose people that are going to be bigger idiots than themselves. I mean, that's just plain out stupid. Look, if I'm good at 10 things, there'll always be 10 other things that I'm not good at. So it's always imperative to have people that are going to make the collective strength of the department become better, not become worse. That's the worst thing that you guys can do. Okay, guys? So that's like one of those tips that I would suggest for everybody who's going to reach that position of becoming a boss in a department. I'm getting a major shout out for my girl, Iraj Hadi. She's a super art director, and I really, really love her work. So God bless you, and thank you for the good wishes, Iraj, sweetheart. Isha, another one of my old students, and a bang up teacher also now at Zabist, is saying that she's happy to see me going live over here. So there's a lot of my old kids that I keep running into. By the way, that's the other smart thing. That's the other selfish reason why I got into teaching. The reason being that I always need good people that are going to complement and make my work better. So that's always a smart strategy. Teach the people well so that they can actually enhance your work. You're not looking for people that you're going to pay money out to and then they're going to bugger up your work. That's just plain out stupid. That's just dumb beyond compare. So it would be smarter for you to actually get people trained up so their skill set gets better, and in turn, they're willing to really, really throw it down for you harder than ever before. At the time when I was heading the creative department at Arch TV, and I know this is a story that I should be saving for tomorrow. I mean, for Tuesday, not for tomorrow. For Tuesday, uh, the thing was over there that my kids, God bless them, were the reasons I got to learn animation. Like nobody taught me animation. Uh, the weird thing was that I started off as a print graphic designer. I came back from the US in 1995, and in those days, I was just a print designer. That's all I knew. That's what I was doing at my first job at Circuit, FCB. If you guys remember from the last web presence that I put up, uh, Imran Mir I was working for, and print was my mainstay. Now, I innately had a big kida. Now, the thing was that I wasn't going to just be someone who's going to just work on print for the rest of my life. That's just not how it was going to go. I was excited by so many different other areas, and that's the reason why I'm actually talking about all these other different things in all these series of lectures. That over the last 25 years of me working, I've actually made sure that I have perfected my craft in a variety of different areas. Now, again, 25 years doesn't mean that I've perfected everything. No, it doesn't work like that. And constantly, I have to keep upping up my game. So, my idea of perfection right now is not going to be the same as what it is going to be, say, tomorrow. There was a beautiful parable that my professor would tell me when I was at college that the whole idea of your career should be you setting up a hurdle for yourself, crossing that hurdle, and then setting yourself up another hurdle. So it's never going to be um, something that you should get comfortable with. If you're just going to start loving yourself too much, that in itself is going to create stagnation. So you must always embark on a journey which is going to keep you fully pushed and constantly willing to learn new things. You can't sit back and say, "Oh, I've done it all, I've seen it all, I've bought the t shirt, and that is that." Never do that. Never, never, never do that. Always try to push and learn from new things. The saying goes that you can never teach an old dog new tricks. That's a bunch of BS. Always, 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 even an old dog like me, learning new stuff every single day. So initially, I came back as a print designer. I started learning how to design for the web, social media, all these platforms. I, in turn, also learned animation from my kids at the various different places that I was working at. And after that, I jumped into production work and started doing a whole lot of documentaries, TVCs, and the likes. Now, the only thing that I haven't done as such, even though that has always been one of my first loves, is making a film. Now, making a film is something that is requiring a lot of क्या बोलते हैं, um, commitment, and it requires a lot of you learning before you jump into that. Film is never going to be something that's going to be offered to you as soon as you get out of college. That's just not the way it's done. You have to go through the rigors. You have to really, really learn before you start getting into it. Okay, so that's basically what it is, right? Now, it's nice to know that I have all my students that are ex-students, I should say, not students anymore, kids that are now working and doing well for themselves in the field, giving me high fives and all the rest of that stuff. Katie and all, God bless you all. Thank you for being on, and it's nice to see you all over here again as well. Um, Another one of my old students, Aoife, is saying that we should make films together. I think that's not a bad idea. I think that's a good idea. Anyway, so we've got some questions. Let's get into it and let's talk about that. Okay, guys? A couple of the fundamentals that we are going to be talking about that we should be very clear on is the fact that we need to have a strong base. Remember how yesterday we were talking about CCC RTS, where concept, composition, color theory, and I know my students are going to be screaming at this point because they're like, hey man, you've drilled this enough into us. Research, typography, and stylization. Believe you me, these six principles work in all of our fields, whether it's animation, whether it's filmmaking, whether it's documentaries, whether it is goddamn, क्या बोलते हैं, even print design. So you have to understand any of the visual mediums that we work in require us to understand how is it that we're going to take CCC RTS and adapt it. Okay. Now, when I came back from college, like I said, I was a print designer. Nobody taught me how to set up an animation department for television. Nobody taught me that. But the beauty of being in Pakistan is the fact that if you show the slightest amount of how should I say this, gumption for work, if you show some enthusiasm, people are going to get behind you. They're really, really going to want to push you to see how you could get into So Hannah is trying to push me into asking silly questions like, what happens in the production industry if this pandemic is the new normal? Well, it won't be the new normal, guys. We have to keep hopeful alive. We have to be hopeful. We can't be thinking about the pandemic and how it's going to ruin our lives and all the rest of that shit. We have to get beyond it, and hopefully soon, within a month or so, at best, we are going to get out of it and work will resume. It has to happen. Yes, there will be cutbacks. There will be ways that we need to start tightening our belts, creatively speaking, as well as financially speaking, so that we can actually create the work that we need to create without us going uh, and standing in the bread line. Okay, nobody should be doing that. That's not what we're here for. So definitely, with the pandemic, we have to find solutions, guys. That's what it's all about. Our job is problem solving. That's what it is. That's what they're paying us money for. The clients have a problem, and we need to come up with a solution for those problems. So we need to do that. Now, just to give you guys an idea, before lockdown happened, I was in the midst of co-directing and co-producing a TVC for Nippon Paints, and it was a big budget क्या बोलते हैं, execution that we were doing, and it was a whole lot of fun, and I got to learn so much on that particular experience. Every working experience has to be a learning experience as well. You can't think of your learning experience to completely end the moment your college ends. That's a bunch of bullshit, okay, guys? And I can't stress this enough. So you need to understand that every single day is going to be a learning experience. Also, you guys need to understand that even though no teacher is going to be standing above you and screaming and shouting that you have to do this and you have to learn that and you have to work on this software, guess what? Now you're grown up and it's your responsibility and you have to do this. You shouldn't be waiting if you're still at school for some teacher to give you permission to actually start doing something that you've always wanted to do. If let's say you wanted to work on Illustrator or Photoshop or After Effects, god damn it, start. There are brilliant YouTube tutorials that are there. I mean, guys, come on. You don't need some teacher to stand over there over your head and go, okay, now this icon does this for you. In fact, the West does not do that anymore. The West is teaching us how to conceive, but it never sits down and says, okay, this is what you do with your software. That is something that they're expecting you to get to grips with. There are a million and one tutorials, there are a million and one sites that are going to be teaching you all these skills. So, for God's sakes, get cracking, guys. Get cracking. Okay? All right. So, I've got my boy Kasim Rishi who says, I need to know about the work behind Social Circus. Joey's एक गुना और video, especially the production design. Okay, so Kasim, unfortunately, is one of my old boys. He's been somebody who has also worked with me for a very long while. He was one of my top conceivers at ARY when we were there. I made sure that I hired him. He's a real smart cookie. I don't want to just say nice things about this bugger, but he is a smart cookie, and he really understood how to put CCC RTS to work. And what's nice is that now he's in Lahore and he's doing all that and then some. So let's talk about how I started my journey into production. Okay, guys. Initially, let me tell you guys this. I was scared shitless of producing. I used to think that these people that can direct and produce work, wow, I've got nothing but respect for them. I thought that these guys were like some sort of miracle people because initially I felt insecure. I said I wasn't taught this skill set at college and I didn't have enough exposure and experience to understand how to do this. So, how would I do this? I would have to be on set and learn from other people doing their work. So this was an intelligent thing to do. Initially, in 2001, I got an opportunity for acting in a music video that got banned. This was for the music group Rush, which is a very underground, very trippy group, I should say. And these guys were wonderful because they had somehow managed to get a dear friend of theirs, Saqib Malik, who then became a good buddy of mine also. And Saqib is a bang up director. I mean, my God, he is just absolutely one of the best people that we've got. And in Pakistan, so here we go. I'm going to actually say some good things about some Pakistani people that are doing work. His music videos were outstanding. My God, you could see the passion this man had, the vision that he had, the art direction that he would actually pull into play. I mean, this guy was just spot on. Yeah. So we were going to shoot on 35 film that Saqib had agreed that he was going to foot the entire bill for the goddamn music video. And I said, you know what? If I have to act like an idiot in that goddamn thing, I don't have a problem. You know, Betty Nar was the name of the song, and it's on YouTube, so you guys can go ahead and after the session's over, please check not only that video out, but another video that was actually directed by my dear friend Uns Mufti. That was for Joey, and that was Men He okay, so in the first video, I was an actor. In that case scenario, I actually got to see how Saqib was working with his crew, what the crew was actually doing, how film cameras were being put to work in those days. And in 2001, guys, that was the premier medium to actually use to create music videos. You had, uh, you know, videos that could be shot on DB, but that resolution was absolute shit, guys. I mean, you guys know this better than I do. And today, my God, you can get some fabulous results out of the DSLRs. Yeah, God bless. I mean, the Sony Alpha series, God bless, is just absolutely an amazing camera to put to work. But this time around, when I was shooting the Nippon Paints commercial, I actually got to work on the Ari Alexa. And for me, that was an absolute joy because that was something that I hadn't done before. So, like I'm saying, guys, every time there's going to be a learning curve. Now, the whole problem is that we get shit scared when we're thrown a new situation. We feel like, oh, we're not going to be able to do it. So, our fear of failure is the first thing that we have to kill, literally. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. You got to kill that fear of failure, kill that stupid thought that's going to come inside your head that is going to be that, how am I going to do this? What are the people going to say? Dude, these are all things that you don't need to worry about. What you need to worry about is to make sure that your groundwork is done. You have to come correct. You have to do all the hard work that is required in pre production so that your production work is going to be good. That's just how it's going to be. So, what I did was basically I learned on the job. With Unsi's video for Joey's Menahi Boom, it was a real stylistically brilliant video. So, for that, what I did was I was the art director, I was the animator, and I was the guy who was going to basically create all the uh, material for the sets. Okay, so that was what my responsibility was, and it was visually a very striking video for something that was done close to 10, 12 years ago. My God, I mean, that was just something that was really, really nice. We shot on HD cameras, but it wasn't like the kind of cameras that we've got access to today. Anyway, so that is how I learned. I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. There was a TV game show that I got an opportunity to do as co-director and producer for Indus Vision. And God bless Zanfar Ali. Baba was, I mean, my mentor as far as the television side of things go. He's the guy who kind of like, took a chance on me and said, you know what, let's get this crazy loon to work because, he hasn't done a lot of shit, but, we think he's got the right makeup and let's really push him to try to do that. That was the biggest game show that Indus was producing at that time. And it was one of the biggest paychecks that I had received at that point. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, every morning that I had to go and shoot, I would wake up in a cold sweat. Yep. But guess what? Got to do it. Got to do it. So the final frontier for me was actually TVC direction because documentaries was also something that I thought I could pull off. But TVCs for me was like, oh my God, that's like the big league. That's like, the territory of the big guys. And how am I going to perform in that area? Well, that I'm sorry to say so, ladies and gentlemen, was actually the danda that I got from two women in my life. One was my wife, and the other was my mother. So God bless Sana and my mother Shakila for having pushed me, literally screaming and shouting that to push me into it. They're like, dude, what is wrong with you? I mean, you act like this, person who cannot do it. How stupid is that? You're going to pay somebody else to do it, and they're going to do a good job, fine. But by the same token, why can't you do it yourself? So, lo and behold, it came to that, and I got pushed into TVC direction. And once you get a taste of it, you're like, hey, why the hell was I getting so bent out of shape about this stuff? I mean, this is not crazy. This is not difficult. This is not something that is, going to make me sweat bullets or whatever. That's a bunch of bullshit. I can do it. And once you convince yourself you can do it, sky's the limit. So you got to keep pushing, guys. You got to keep pushing. So anyway, let's go on further. Saad Baloch, another one of my ex-students. My God, there's so many of my ex-students that are going to be coming up on this. Can we please talk about the importance of film festivals in Pakistan? How can they help us get funding for our films abroad? Very important, guys. Very, very important. In fact, uh, this whole culture of having film festivals gives highlight to all the good work that is happening. Usually, whenever we talk about Pakistan, people always have negative things to say about us. And I'm sick and tired of that. I don't want to be known as a terrorist nation, or I don't want to be known as some sort of a cutthroat barbarian. Enough of that crap. Let's get known for things that are actually good. People that produce excellent music, people that do good work in film production. And my God, some of the new kids that are coming up, they've destroyed it for the old brass. Back in the day when I was a concept writer at Low and Rove, but now that is, I think, Mullen Low and Rove, uh, we only had five directors in those days, five big guys. That's it. Zakir Malik, we had Jami, we had, who's that fellow? Asad, yeah, that's his name. Okay, him. And two other guys. That's it. Five big directors, and that's all we had. Amna, my God, God bless her. Amna Khan is one of our treasures, and she is a woman. I have got nothing but love for her because it's amazing that she's been kicking that glass ceiling at a time where it was unheard of to have women jump into production. And these days, I'm so happy to see that so many of my girls from school, from various different colleges that I've taught at, have taken production as a field for themselves. And God bless you all. It's about time that we have the ladies get in there. It's really important, guys. We shouldn't just have male directors. Enough of that. There are beautiful stories that have to be told from a woman's perspective. There has to be that happening in society. Otherwise, how else are we going to grow? So I got nothing but love for Amna. God bless her. She's done some really, really good work as far as TVCs go, as far as music videos go. My God, I mean, she's really, really been one of our best people. So, how do the film festivals help us? Here's the kicker. This is a place, guys, where we actually get to celebrate work of short films or films that might not get the kind of marketing push behind them, because unfortunately the movies that usually get the marketing push are not going to be the best movies. Let's be very honest. Okay, I don't want to piss on anybody's parade, but the next Myra's film is not going to be something that's going to float my boat. You know what I mean? I mean, for all the Momina Dure productions and all that stuff, God bless you all. I know you guys are making money, and I mean, you guys are doing a good job of it. But you know what? We need more different kinds of movies that are actually going to engage us on a mental level. We can't be a backward society executing backward morality and backward thought processes, guys. We need to start looking at all the new stuff that is being done all over the world, not only in the West, but all over the world. My God, there's some fabulous work coming out of Iran, astounding work. And anybody who says that you have to have end game budgets for you to create good movies, well, guess what? You're off your rocker. All right? That's a bunch of bullshit. Because honestly speaking, as much as I enjoyed all the other Marvel movies up to Infinity War, I hated Endgame. Okay, and this was that point of divergence that I had with my son because that was the big thing that he and I would do. We would make an actual event of it. So we'd always go watch our Marvel movies. Cinema is not just an art form that has to be taken with the art house movies, guys. Please, that is also a false way of looking at it. There are great action movies that are made. There are fabulous commercial films that are also made. So I don't believe this BS that you can either make a commercial movie or you can make a good art movie. That's crap. It's far more difficult to actually make a good commercial film, something that is going to have recognition, something that actually will be appreciated by everybody, and at the same time not be something that's going to be, difficult to understand. I'm not big on vagueness. I believe our art forms are basically created so that we need to share it with a lot of people. We want a lot of people. We want the audience to love what we're doing. And that should be our end goal. Okay, guys? So that's what we're looking for. So film festivals, very important. We need to have more of those. In fact, I got to give a big shout out to my girl Atika Bodo for organizing the PK forum, which I thought was an absolute intelligent, brilliant idea because not only did she get the film directors and producers, television people, owners of channels together, but she also got government as well as business at the same goddamn platform. Now that is smart because look, we're not just celebrating cinema and then everybody goes back home and goes to sleep. It's about creating a culture that is going to encourage cinema, and that's going to happen when money is going to be invested into our productions. And secondly, you will have to have the industry of production be recognized as a business. These are very important things that have to happen from a government policy level that are going to actually ensure people getting loans for their production projects. Right now, you can't do that. Right now, the only way that you can do it is independent financing, or you go to some TV channel and basically sell your wares over there. That's the only way that you can do it. Also, Ali John wants to know: do you think bigger brands should start spending their marketing budgets on films or web series or product placements, keeping in mind the Pakistani audience? What would work better? First and foremost, guys, our client need to start embracing the culture of advancing their advertising, their brands, and all the rest of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, guys, if you're just going to make a kissy pretty PVC and spend like lakhs and lakhs of rupees on it, what good is that? That's not going to help anybody out. Middle of the road productions, as I was talking about yesterday, not the right way to do it. You've got to do something memorable. You've got to do something that is going to actually get the people's attention. And the only way that's going to happen is if the creators are going to start taking some risks. If they're not going to take any risks, boom, we're not going to go anywhere with it. Unfortunately, movies that are created purely for making money and movies that are created with heart both have an equal statistical chance of failure. So I say make them with heart. Don't just make it as a way for you to make money. This whole Disney model that we've got going, where it's just about the bottom line, that's not what we're looking for. You want a maximum number of people coming into your uh, theaters to enjoy your work. Of course, that's why we're doing this. But you have to create good stuff for them to enjoy. Okay? So, as far as the new avenues go, I would urge all of our clients to actually start taking some chances. Whether it is product placement, whether it is web series, whether it's going social media, hey, there's a multitude of different avenues that are up for us. In fact, now we're seeing it. We're seeing television in its last legs, on its last legs, I should say. Unfortunately, what's happening is that the what do you say, platform killer is happening. Where once we thought television was something that just could not be thrown away. Now we're seeing that the older lot still watches TV, but the younger lot is not doing it. The younger lot is gravitating towards social media, is gravitating towards Netflix or Amazon or any multitude of different options that they've got. Nobody is going to be saying, "Oh, let's watch something on ARY." There might be one drama that might come out, and then your wife will force you to watch it. But apart from that, the run of the mill is that we're not doing it, guys. We're not doing it. We're not wanting to watch those dramas. So, as an audience, we need to get more sophisticated. Uh, Enough of these Sas Bahu goddamn plot lines. Okay, it's really painful. Nobody wants to sit down and watch another goddamn Sas Bahu drama. How many times do we want to instigate this form of patriarchy through these idiotic, backward ideas that are being supplanted in dramas? And whenever you sit down and talk to the bosses of TV channels, they'll very glibly tell you that, well, we tried doing these pro women uplifting type of dramas, they didn't make money. So, on the one hand, yes, I do believe that our channels need to start educating our people, and secondly, our people need to start embracing content that is going to be a little more engaging, a little less formulaic, and something that is actually going to be different. Anyway, so uh, let's go on further. Advice for people who've realized passion later in their life, in their early 30s, and want to be a part of writing, direction, and production of films. Hey, you're looking at it. You're looking at me. I started my journey on production much later, and I came in a real roundabout way. So it's never a late time, man. It's never a late time. I mean, just because you're not young as you were when you were 20, in those days you tend to be a bit of a hothead. You tend to do stupid things. You tend to do silly things. And hopefully by 30, you've understood the error of your ways a little and gotten a little better. So, there is no time like the present. Get into it, man. Get into it. So, whatever your age is, whatever your so called misgivings are, use your weakness as your strength, never as a weakness. Never. That is just the stupidest thing you could do. So get into it, man. Get into it. If it floats your boat, do it. I'm not asking you to leave your day job, but hey, there's more than 24 hours in the day, and you can get a little bit of time for your family and get a little bit of time for your work, and then put a little bit of time in your passion project. So go ahead and do it, man. Seriously. We only stop ourselves from doing things. So stop it. Okay? Stop stopping yourself. That's what I need to say. Anyway, so let's go on further. I'm getting phone calls in the middle of all of this. Anyway, so what are my thoughts on the emerging crop of filmmakers and how the independent scene can be improved to help propel and instill new ideas in the minds of our audience? So we are getting better as an audience. I will say this: if we have some independent filmmakers that are willing to take some chances. Yeah, sometimes it's going to happen that you're going to fall flat on your face. But what do? You're going to sit down on the ground and start crying and say, "Oh, the world doesn't understand me and I'm so misunderstood." BS, man. Get the hell up, dust yourself off, and get back on the horse, man. That's how you do it. You're bound to make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of life. Learn from them. Don't repeat them. Make sure that you keep getting better as every project progresses. That's what the whole idea is about. Okay. Um, so definitely the fact that we've got all these wonderful new schools, and in there definitely I'm going to give a shout out again to Zabist and Indus Valley for being two areas that are actually doing some very very good work in creating that new crop of students that are actually going to hopefully make this production field a lot brighter and better. Okay, so I'm expecting a lot from you kids. Don't make me look bad. I'm gonna have to come into your place of work and kick your ass. You get me? Anyway, so definitely the kids have to keep working, man. You got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. There's just no way around it. If you give up, the fight is lost. So just keep at it. There are days that it's going to be when you're going to want to bang your head against the wall and say, you know what, I'm wasting my time. And then there are days that are going to be the most fun that you can have with your clothes on. So, there's a balance that you're going to have to play out. You're going to have to take the good with the bad. But keep at it, man. Keep at it. That's what you need to do. Aoife says there's a lack of good scripts, and she's right. In fact, that is the basis of all good work. If you're going to make a documentary, if you're going to do a TVC, if you're going to do a film, anything that you're going to do requires a good script. And the problem with us is we don't want to spend the requisite time in getting the groundwork done properly. If you have a good script, 9 times out of 10, there's a good chance that you're going to execute it well as well. But if you have a bad script, then things are going to go awry all the time. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. So please make sure that first and foremost, you need to get your hands on something that is going to be brilliant as far as the script goes. Once you have an exciting script, then it's like an avalanche. You know what I mean, guys? Then you have a chance that that excitement from a good script is going to infect the next level, which is going to be pre-production, and then you're going to have the production stage, and then you will have your post stage. So the excitement is going to keep increasing, hopefully, if the first steps are going to be taken well. That is the most important thing. Okay, guys? Also, she says we need to get out of the war on terror type stuff. Yeah, you're right about that, sweetheart. Um, the whole war of terror unfortunately happened in 2001. That's also a good 19 years away. That's some old ass topics. We need to get beyond that. Look, there's nothing wrong with a good action movie that's made in Pakistan. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. But can we get beyond this terrorism stuff? Okay, so if I got to agree with you on that. So, in Sync says, we all know why those patriotic films are made. Okay. Well, we all know where the funding's coming from. Bajia says, would you ever want to make a full feature film? Which genres would it be? I would love to make a full feature film, but you know what, guys? Honestly speaking, I'm a bit of a pattu right now. I'm still trying to, keep to my TVC roots and documentaries and trying to just make it so for that. Look, guys, I mean, making a film is no easy task. You need to have a bugger load of money. The average film in Pakistan, even if it's a piece of shit, requires a 5 crore minimum budget. And this is not inclusive of marketing and other things. Okay. This is just purely a production spend, right? So I've been involved with a couple of films whereby I have been a partial producer, I would like to say. I haven't been given screen credit for it, and I don't want any screen credit for it. It was a bad, crazy film. And it flopped beyond compare. And to top it all off, my favorite person in the world, Khalilur Rahman Kamar, was the director of that film. God bless him. Jesus Christ, I mean, people really sometimes have lost the plot. That's all I can say. Anyway, so having said all those wonderful things, what film would I like to make? I want to make a film that's actually a bit of a blend. I mean, I don't want it to be just tragic and I don't want it to be just comedy. But these days, guys, some of the best comedies that are coming out of the West actually get really dark and serious at points that are like, I mean, it just blows you away. Some of the best new shows that I've watched recently, which I'm a very big fan of, have that kind of formula. So I kind of like that. That's kind of like life, ups and downs. So recently I saw a couple of months back Atlanta, which I thought was an absolute treasure as far as television goes. And another TV show that I really, really enjoyed was Dave, that I'm in the midst of right now. Dave is a new show that has just come out, and it's, my God, it's messed up. It's about this Jewish white rapper who is trying to break into the rap scene, and it's hilarious. It's a really, really funny, and yet at the same time gets really dark at points. TV show, and it's produced by Kevin Hart. So, hey, God bless. So let's go on further. Um, the young filmmakers these days tend to chase money when they need to get into film making industry. Is that the right approach when you step out of a film school? Guys, I always talk about that balance. We need to pay the bills, but at the same time, we don't want it to be that we're only known for making money. Okay, so I'm not going to gripe about that. I'm not going to say that, oh, you should only make art films and you should completely not sell out or any of that business. Look, honestly speaking, there's a fair amount of selling out that you have to do. That's part and parcel of the work ethic. You're not going to suddenly, fight with your clients and, say, you know what, you people are a bunch of barbarians. I'm not going to work with you all anymore. I'm out of here. That's a stupid, idiotic, and a very immature attitude. I'm sorry to say so. This goes against the starving artist model, but that's a bunch of bullshit. Okay, guys, nobody should be a starving artist. Okay, this is not a curse. You're not bloody well getting into a field to bloody starve yourself of desires and things that you need to take care of. And at some point, you are single, sure, and then you become married and you've got a wife and you've got a child. So you've got to think about their needs as well, man. So this is a bunch of bullshit. So you have to strike a balance. You have to make some money, and at the same time, you have to keep your creative integrity. And to keep both these sides working simultaneously, that is the real genius. That's where you've got to really, really find that soft spot. Okay, you can't be too artistic because then you're going to be sitting on your ass and doing no work, and you can't be too money minded because then at the end of the day you're going to have no goddamn respect. So you've got to strike a balance. You've got to create work that is going to be accessible. I'm not going to say completely selling out, but there is a fair amount of selling out that you have to do, guys. Look, I cannot fight with my client. If I've given a comment sorry, if I've given a concept to my client, and if they don't go with the concept that I want them to go with, what am I going to do? I'm going to start fighting with them? No, that's just plain out stupid. Why would I do that? You basically take a deep breath. And remember what I said yesterday. You've got to lose one or two battles so that you can win the war. That's the whole idea. Okay, guys? So, creatively, if we are going to lose one or two battles with our clients, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I know it's going to be like a kick to the guts, but hey, take it. It's all right. It doesn't make you a lesser person. But to completely sell out and become an ass kisser, I'm not suggesting that to be the case either. So you have to live with yourself. You have to think, कि हाँ यार, in the year, if I've done a couple of projects, I want to make sure that the ones that I was unhappy about were few and far in between. So that's the kind of mindset that you have to work. Okay, that's how you got to think about it. अच्छा जी. So, no, no, NCA and you as well will be biased now. Why not NCA? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really experienced NCA, so I can't speak from any other experience. I'm a bit of a Karachi boy, and since this is Karachi Creative, and you know how us Karachiites are, we're so biased against the Punjab, which is such a load of crap. I mean, seriously, I mean, this is such a load of shit. It's not even funny. No, actually, honestly speaking, it's just because I have not really experienced anything from NCA. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. It's just that I don't know enough about them. I have actually headed the media science department at Zabist. I've worked very closely with the faculty as well as the good people at Indus Valley. I was heading the media science department at ICRA. So these places I can speak about from experience. I can't say the same thing about NCA because I've never really had any experience of them. So, honestly speaking, it's not a bias. It's just the fact that I have got no uh, experience from that angle. And I absolutely don't have any bias against Punjabi people. Some of my best friends are Punjabi. Anyway, so let's go on further. So, if you do have a feature length script, who do we pitch them to? Anybody that's going to listen, man. You pitch it to somebody's grandma if you can. I don't give a shit. Dude, the whole idea is about trying to make sure that you need to get the word out. Okay, you need to get the excitement. You need to get the money. And believe you me, it's like that poor heroine from that Frog and the Princess fairy tale, where she had to kiss a lot of frogs before she got to a prince. The same allegory applies to you in filmmaking, guys. It's not an easy thing. You don't have all the best contacts the moment you get out of college. Not so. In fact, the whole idea is, I would urge and suggest each and every of the new kids that come out, guys, don't immediately be in a rush to get your, three friends together, form a commune, and then start working. I mean, fine, you might be successful. I'm not saying that that's not the only way that you can do it, but there's a whole learning curve that you need to go through. And for that, I would suggest get into the learning side on somebody else's guide. So go do a whole lot of jobs at a whole lot of places of work. This is going to increase your network. It is going to get you to start experiencing and getting in contact with people at various different levels at various different places. And you never know who is going to help you out get your funding for your next passion project. So, you know what? Go and pitch to everybody and anybody that you feel is going to be helpful in getting you the funding that you need to get. Okay. Salman asks, should you always draw inspiration from other popular filmmakers, or is it okay to completely craft a new style of your own? Which way worked the most? Hey, look, I believe that we are living in eclectic times. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with you having love for any filmmakers or whatever. Look, this is part and parcel of the learning experience. You have to have seen a shitload of movies for you to have enhanced your visual vocabulary. The same can be said for animation, the same can be said for the wonderful world of design. If you are not going to be educated via your eyes, how the hell are you going to be able to tell your story? But I am not saying for any stretch of the imagination that you should only copy what is being done by other people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to be impressed by somebody's work, to be influenced by somebody's work is a good thing. But to chapo somebody else's work, that I'm sorry to say so, is not a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. You know that as well as I do. This is not rocket science. You know when you're plagiarizing and when you are not. So it's good to be educated about your visual vocabulary, but I'm not suggesting for once ever to go and start chopping other people's work. One of my favorite filmmakers, my second favorite filmmaker, I should say, not my number one favorite filmmaker, is a gentleman by the name of Orson Welles. I'm sure everybody has heard of Orson Welles if they've gone through the college, and if you haven't, God damn it, go and watch Orson Welles movies. You learn a lot of work, a lot of good things from there. Orson Welles did not come from a film school education and background. He had nothing like that. In fact, he was a theater guy. He had learned theater. And then, when he was being hired by RKO to direct Citizen Kane for the first time, he sat back in their library and started going through a multitude of different movies. In fact, if any uh, education that I received on that tip, on the production side of things, was my film theories education. And there I've got to give a major shout out to my professor, Mr. Bob Smith, who I felt was the most amazing professor there ever could be. I mean, God bless him. In my entire college career of 5 years, I had nothing but love for this guy. He was not only an amazing, empathetic human being, but he had film knowledge like there's no tomorrow. And his classes were all structured like we would sit down in class and watch a new film every week. And during the 3 hour period that we had, 1.5 hours, of course, would be the film, and 1.5 hours would just be discussing the formal language of cinema. Now, the weird thing is that I always knew about everything else. I had some idea about painting, about design, about these things. I had some idea. And of course, when I got educated, that knowledge was then, of course, surplus. But when it came to cinema, I was only interacting with cinema on a very superficial level. I never got down to the depth. And that idea that a formal language in cinema exists was something that was opened up to me by this amazing angel of a man named Smith. And God bless him, I have nothing but good things to say about him. I mean, he was just somebody who's had the most positive impact on me when I was growing up. I mean, God bless him. I can't say enough good things about him. And I wish I could go back to the US and to actually meet him now. I did do it once in the 90s when I used to go back very frequently to the US, but after 2001, uh, where the World Trade Towers came down and I was in New York at that time for my brother's wedding, I just decided, you know what, I think I need to take a little break from America. I just couldn't go on further with it. So one of these days, yeah, hopefully, if the time is right, I might go back and maybe I might be able to get in touch with my old professor all over again. So it's really, really important for us to be educated in our visual vocabulary, guys. Very important. And all of these things are going to help us become better filmmakers. So you have to seek your own style. You have to come up with your own language for cinema. But that language can only come into play if you have seen the work of the greats. And this is something that I keep telling my students. It's not just about kissing Whitey's ass. Please, that's not what we're here to do. We're not about to start making ourselves feel depressed and feel complex and say that, we can't do great work like those people do in Hollywood or those people do in some other part of the world. That's such a load of shit. You know, learn from the best and then see how you can adapt those things and bring them into your work. If you don't do that, you're the biggest idiot on the face of this planet, man. You've got to do that. That is what makes everything cool. Okay, so let's go on further. In Singh says, also, don't you think the industry needs to open up to be more realistic stories, to allow for more realistic stories of the common man, the sort which has started the new wave in Hollywood in the 70s? Yes, definitely. Definitely. I think that would be the right place to go. But, strangely enough, guys, between that 60s and 70s period, Hollywood went through a major changeover because what happened was that the studio system that they had in place before kind of fell apart. And because of this new way of doing cinema, which costed less money and was less of a burden on the studios, got adopted. But you have to understand that for every one movie that you see that is actually good in Hollywood, also, there are 10 movies that are absolute shit. So, you'll have all the idiotic Gemini mans and all the stupid crap that they make. I mean, it's repulsively sad. And don't think that just because, Hollywood is somehow prone to not making bad stuff. I mean, they make a fair amount of shit for a very, very, very developed film culture and a very developed film studio system. They create a lot of crap as well. So, there we go. Um, Akif Faruqi says, as an independent filmmaker, would it be advisable for us to enlist our film production company? Well, like I said earlier on, Akif, I would suggest first and foremost get into other production houses. Get a name for yourself. Okay, so straight out of college, I don't want you to just jump into making your production company and then doing it that way. I created IQ Production after, oh my lord, let me see. I did it about 12 years ago, and I've been working for 25. So do the math. So about 13, 14 years, I worked for other people. It's good, man. Go out there, get the ragda. There's a lot of learning that we have to do even when we come out of school, guys. Like I said, I only learned how to be a print designer when I graduated from the University of Connecticut in 1995. All these other things I picked up whilst I was working, and I had this big danda on my backside that I had to make sure that I had to learn all these new things. So these are the ways that you have to keep getting better. So I would suggest don't start off with your own production company initially. Do it after years of getting a bit of a name, and then of course you should finally move on to start making your own production design. Aoife says, superb example of doing different jobs and getting connection from there. Yeah, definitely. Leila Hassan says, hello, sir. Good to see you. Leila, thank you very much. Good to see you too. God damn it. Ask a question. Which director did he say? Heisenberg? Huh? Who? What? Vajia? You're not making sense, girl. What's going on? Okay, Ikra says hello, sir. Walaikum hello, sir. Okay, look, it's really good that I'm having all these hellos and highs, but we need to be talking about specific questions. Okay, guys. So I didn't tell you guys before we wrap up very soon because we've hit the 1 hour mark. I haven't told you guys about my favorite wonderful director, a man by the name of Joseph von Sternberg. Von Sternberg was somebody who I have nothing but respect for. This guy is the person who single-handedly credited for creating Marlene Dietrich. And most of the movies that I'm going to be talking to you guys about will be black and white. I mean, it's just a crazy, weird thing. I have this absolute passion and love for black and white movies on one hand. And on the other hand, I absolutely love all these, mega spectacle, big budget films also. So, hey, you have to keep that bag varied, right? We need to make sure that we're experiencing as many different kinds of films for us to understand the many things that are out there. I would love to increase my knowledge about Irani cinema because I hear such good things about them and how this ability they have for making something brilliant on a shoestring budget. So please don't be under this misconception, guys, that money is the only way that we're going to make great movies. That's not true. If anything, money sometimes can be a hindrance. So we need to make sure that that is, kept in check. So I was telling you guys about von Sternberg. Joseph von Sternberg was a technician, somebody who used to basically be in the film development department. And somehow or the other, he wrangled himself onto the set and became a director. And my God, the films that he's directed, heartbreakingly good. Heartbreakingly good. You must start with a movie called The Scarlet Empress. Marlena Dietrich's in that one, as well as The Devil is a Woman, Shanghai Express. I mean, these are all just fabulous, fabulous movies. In fact, anything in von Sternberg's catalog, please get to grips with, jump in there. And I know it's not like cinema as we know it today. The cinema of days gone by has a slightly different vocabulary. And his cinema was completely mise en scène. He was not one who believed in a montage school of cinema. His takes are long and gorgeous. He has fabulous art direction. His lighting, oh my God, his lighting is so good. His lighting is so good. My God, it kills. It kills. It's that beautiful, and he's so technically goddamn sound, and his content is so gorgeous. He was talking about such pro women ideas that even with a movie like The Devil is a Woman, which I'm going to get cancelled for on the Me Too side of things, um, is a movie that's subversive cinema through and through. The first time I saw this movie, I wanted to, kill that female protagonist that Marlena Dietrich was playing. But my professor, Mrs. Never Marlena Dietrich's character, that was at fault. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you guys. Go ahead and watch it. It's just some absolute genius work. And that was done in the 40s and the 30s. My God, that is the level of genius that was about there. Yes, there is some good work, as my friend Kasim is pointing out, about the Indian parallel cinema, whereby many people like Satyajit Ray, as well as other people, there were some other really genius people that were doing good stuff. And occasionally you see a good Indian movie as well. Okay, so let me not completely throw them out the way. I mean, we all are big fans of our dear friend Anurag Kashyap when he does things like Gangs of Wasipur or Sacred Games Season 1. But when he does Secret Games Season 2, you want to take a bloody knife and throttle him and stab him also while you're at it. Jesus, man, it's so heartbreaking when somebody as cool as Anurag Kashyap does shit like Sacred Games Season 2. That was such a low down piece of shit that I can't tell you guys enough about. Anyway, so the last thing that I'm going to tell you guys is that can you please ask this, sir? I love filmmaking and I really want to get into it, but the only thing that stops me from it is because I don't know how to handle the camera. Can I still make the cut? Of course you can. Please. What kind of shit are you talking about? I was not very strong on handling the camera. As far as the 20 million things that I can do, I'm an awful person on the camera. So there, I mean, compositions, I'm spot on, no problem at all. But I will need help from my lighting technician, from those wonderful people that are my DOPs. God bless them. There, I've got a couple of people that I want to send a lot of love to. Rana Kamran was somebody who started with me in the old days, and Rana used to be a dadu. Okay, Rana, the great Rana Kamran today, used to be a dadu at one time. But hey, everybody's got to start from some place, man. This guy came in as my second cameraman in 2001 on Jadu Ka Charag. And lo and behold, over the years, I've just seen this kid get better and better and better. And it's heartbreaking to see how good he's become. And I've got nothing but love for this guy. So, hey, we've all got to start at some point. We've all got to start small and then we get bigger, provided we work our asses off, man. And he did. So, that's an important thing we need to learn about. Also, Salman Isaac is another great DOP that we've got in Pakistan. And there's a multitude of other people. There's Mo, there is, Zain. There's a whole host of kids that are coming back with the right education and are doing it. I've got a personal soft spot for my boy Hassan Rashid, who has been my cornerstone for every single documentary that I've shot of late. And this kid is actually the real particle. So, I mean, I got to give him a little bit of love over here on that count. And he's been somebody who's been with me for quite a few of those shoots. So, hey, I'm not very strong with my camera handling either. And that's where I get good professionals that are going to cover up my areas of weaknesses. So this is how you have to work it. You have to do that. You have to make sure that the areas that you're strong in, you need to do that. But if you don't have areas that are strong, you need to hire people that are intelligent and are specialists in that area. When it comes to music, there's only one guy I go to, and his name is Asif. Asif is my go-to guy, and he's always been my go-to guy ever since I've been doing work. Whether it is animations, whether it is documentaries, whether it's TV series, I only go to Asif. That's it. He is my guy. So you know, you've got to have those people that are the specialists that are going to make your work better. All right. Suhaina says, what do you think about the top three production agencies? I'm sorry if I sound dumb. Which three top production agencies? Can you please talk about, be more specific, Suhaina? And besides, guys, we're going over the 1 hour mark. Anyway, Orkata, thank you for tuning in, guys. Okay, yeah, so let's call it quits. Okay, enough is enough. Thank you for tuning in, guys. We are going to come back with me on Tuesday at 8:30 again, and we're going to be talking about animation-centric stuff, right? So enjoy yourselves, enjoy this Sunday, and I'm so happy that you guys could spend time with us on this. Take care of yourselves and peace out.